Hello, everyone. Hoping you can hear me and that I'm able to be heard across this wonderful wide platform known as YouTube and Google Hangouts. I can hear you, Ash. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. Yeah.
Well, blow me down, stone the crows, and starve the lizards. Thank
Well,
God.
let's see how long it lasts, huh?
Yeah, well, exactly. Don't talk too soon. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Mate, you were talking. I've got no idea if anybody was listening or heard you about you're still in a trade from when Monday or something. That's unusual for you. What's going on?
Yes, it is. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of it's sort of the same trade, but by the same token, it is a different one. It's the same charts, obviously, and it's the same direction. But the reason it's different is that I did actually take a break-even stop on it and re-entered slightly higher. Now the market, it's currently moving against me, which is no big deal. But my first entry was here, 73.20. I got an entry in at this point. Markets came down, hit a pivot down here, and it backed back up again. And I added here, but it didn't have any follow through. So I left the first one on. I left the add point on. But I made sure that my first entry was at break even. So if the market came up, now I've still got the same opinion on this about this coming down. So I was fine with it going up and re-entering.
Now, once again, we can't see your screen.
Okay.
Can only see the picture of you playing Jingle Bells.
Oh, it's really strange. It's saying that it's showing my screen, but it's not doing it, is it? No, why not? Now let me know if that's better.
Not yet. It must be in your settings, I'm guessing. Well,
maybe it is. The strange thing is, when I look at Google Hangouts and what my screen is showing that I'm showing my screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm looking at YouTube, and all I can see is the logo and your picture. Okay. I wonder if there's anybody in the room that can help us out. Maybe there's not.
Settings. Let me have a look at settings. That's fine. That's fine.
So if anyone in the room can let us know, or anyone, there appears to be one, can let us know if they can see Ash's screen, that would be awesome. Because there's an issue somewhere. I don't know whether it's my end or Ash's end, but the YouTube channel I'm looking at is showing only logos.
I would have thought it'd be here because YouTube should, if you're looking at YouTube, that should tell you what's being shown, shouldn't it?
I would think so. Hang on, I'll share my screen, and if that should prove it. If
yes,
I can now see your what looked like a desktop of some sort. What a mess this platform is.
Oh, yeah, I can see your screen. You're showing the Forex Factory, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. And that's
also I can see your screen.
So I saw a bit.
Yeah, I can see.
And that's
I can see your screen.
So
I can see.
And that's
this isn't working out, mate. I can't hear you unless I click on the Google, and then I just get this feedback loop, which is no good. I think can hear you. So it must be here. I'm guessing that actually. Let me just try something. Yeah, I'm connected to the internet. I'm just going to unconnect and then reconnect and see if it helps.
All right. I'll go through a couple of things then and see you in a tick. All right. It would appear we're having problems Ash's end. I guess that's at least we know. Well, I think we know.
All right.
Yeah, Ash is going to try and disconnect and reconnect and see how we go with that. In the meantime, in between time, let's take a look and see what's going on around the place, shall we? Refreshing our yesterday's news. CPI figure on the, sorry, this is today's, yesterday's news. Kiwi retail sales were good. Core retail sales not so good. No idea what, well, I do. Theresa May had a speech last night and actually floored the market again. Interesting. Ash will tell us more on that, I'm sure. Home sales out of the States were poor. Got no idea. Well, Philip Lowe didn't say that much, I don't believe. Not that he can say too much to save the Aussie dollar at the moment. And so really, apart from what Theresa May said yesterday and the fact that perhaps she's got another vote going on with the potential for another referendum, I'm guessing. Ash, hopefully, if we can get him connected properly, we'll be able to answer those questions. Today, big news, of course, is CPI figures coming out of London, and they will be with us in around about an hour and a half. We are forecasting that the CPI figures will be good, and I see the pound is not rallying too much on the back of that. No surprise there either, as it's been under extreme pressure. Yeah, I'd say so, Ash. I'd say so. I don't know if your phone can rescue that, but who knows? Okay, so just answering Ash there in the background. Also got retail sales coming out of Canada, or core retail sales as well. That seems to be the headline number. And we've got the FOMC meeting minutes overnight for most of us. Look, FOMC meeting minutes, had nobody spoken since the FOMC meeting a couple of weeks ago, I would have said maybe that's going to create a hullabaloo in the market. Look, it still could, given that it was supposed to be a dovish statement. It may well have been more dovish or even less dovish than the statement. Pardon me, the meeting minutes, that it may have been less, pardon me, dovish than the statement led us to believe. But we'll find that out, I suppose, overnight. We'll worry about that one tomorrow. I don't think I'd be willing to trade a breakout on that, but you never know. I'll take a look at that in a little bit. So really, retail sales is the one for later, but the elephant in the room, of course, is the CPI figures coming out in, as I say, about an hour and a half from now. On the pound, what's the market doing of late? Overnight, with that Theresa May thing, you would expect a fair bit of movement on the pound. We're kind of seeing that. Not good. The pound rallied very, very rapidly on that announcement, but then sucked back like a bungee cord. The euro fared a little bit better overnight and into today. Aussie and Kiwi didn't have a great Monday and Tuesday. Coming off a little bit less now, but still coming off. No surprises there, I suppose. Dollar yen's interesting. Add one, take one off, zero. That's in 2 days and today so far. Not a lot of movement thus far on dollar Swissy. You'd have to say today's price action or today's action is negative the pound more than anything else. And I guess that is the market taking into consideration what transpired last night. Certainly the immediate reaction was the opposite to that. But as I say, it sucked back very, very quickly. And that's interesting. I can, oh no, okay, it's all good. So yeah, all I'm seeing is pound weakness here, really. The euro's kind of holding its own against the dollar. Dollar yen's on a line ball. We've seen a lot of that lately. And the Aussie and Kiwi are weak and potentially getting weaker. Pound yen is having a very bad day. All right, so that's what's happening there. Have I got? I haven't even got any charts, for goodness sake. What on earth is happening here? Okay, let me see if I can find some charts somewhere. That'll be good. Which charts do we want? We want those ones. Okay. I kind of get the feeling that I've been doing the same thing day in, day out for the last 3 weeks to a month. And it's getting very, very boring. But today I'm going to make a little bit of a change to my MO. And that is going to be bigger picture stuff. So where I feel I've been looking at the same chart every day for the last goodness knows how long, I'm just going to go and have a look at the big picture and see if I can work out at least a potential direction for us to take, or certainly for me to take. Let us do that, shall we? Why am I up here? God, I hate it when technology takes over. Really does annoy. I should have the Aussie here. Okay. All right. I'm catching up. Euro pound. Wow, it just keeps going, doesn't it? That shows you that the pound is very, very weak. Very, very weak and getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Let's have a look at the pound. Looks like it's out of the blocks with another very, very quick and bearish move. My charts haven't caught up yet, guys. I'm just trying. Here we go. Yep, there she goes again. Let me take a look at the 30-minute chart. Worcester, late Asia, Europe Open, London Open. See you later. Goodness me, it's in trouble, the pound. And then there's that announcement from Theresa May yesterday that that really rallied the pair. But for how long? 10 minutes or so, and then it just was see you later, all gone again. Impossible to trade, really, the pound, whilst that's going on, so we won't even think twice about it. Same with Euro pound. Let's go back to the Aussie pair, shall we? Now, for some weird and wonderful reason, I haven't got a box around that, though I should have. Because one of the things that has been very, very frustrating of late is the lack of structure that I use to trade. And the structure I use to trade, of course, is ranges. Let's use that. And whilst I've got a ranges, I'm a happy little chappy because I can trade off the top to the bottom, from the top to the bottom to the top, etc., 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 as long as they line up for me, of course. So that's good news on Aussie Kiwi. I'll be looking for either a bounce off here in a lower high, or a breakout, false back underneath, lower high, short, or take out the high, come back and test the top of the rectangle, and maybe look to jump into a long. Hang on 2 secs, guys. Okay, Ash is experiencing terrible technical difficulty, so I think we'll just send him to the pub and he can have a good old time in Hong Kong whilst we're talking bigger picture stuff here. So bigger picture is not a 1 hour chart, of course. So what I'm going to do is quickly go out to the monthly chart. And here I see something that doesn't really surprise me, of course, on Aussie Kiwi. It's not a pair that really goes nuts in terms of trending because they're very, very well closely correlated. I'll put it that way. In general terms, there are times, of course, where different scenarios call for different directions, but by and large, this pair doesn't, fluctuate that much. So what am I looking for here then? Well, pretty clear, really, isn't it? We are down the bottom of the range. So I'll be looking for a higher low here. Ray, I found something that means something. That's cool. I found a couple of things yesterday as well that I'll share with you in a minute. So higher low here on the monthly chart would be what I'll be looking for. Now, how that is structured, of course, is a very good question. So we ask for some more information here. If we put that piece of information on, you can see that we have broken this trend line. We've come back and retested this trend line. So I'd be willing to suggest that there is potential downside here, not massive, but something that maybe goes to the next horizontal level, maybe, which is maybe there, round about there somewhere. Been support here. It's been support here, resistance here. I'll get this right. And support here as well, just missed out there. So that's a reasonable level to look for a retest. So that's uppermost in my mind on this cross Aussie Kiwi. So I'd like to see that down there, create a higher low, and then look to trade it long. Big double bottom sitting here. That's very, very clear. So I think there's reason to suspect that this can go higher. I'm absolutely on board with that. The other way potentially to look at that, if we don't get the lower high here, perhaps we get a break back above this trend line and then retest it and the lower high forms on that level, but always looking for it to form on a support level. So this will be plan A, and break, retest this one will be plan B. So that's what I'll be looking at, guys, in the next little bit. Well, when I say little bit, I'm on the monthly chart. How does that make me feel today? Well, bearish, to be fair, because I can absolutely see this area down here, and I'll be looking for evidence to suggest that that's even possible. What I see when I look at this chart is pretty much messy. Now, this line here doesn't exist on this chart because it's been broken and rebroken. So let's get rid of that and put it back there rather. Okay, so that tidies that up a bit. I can see a double top sitting here. I can see a break of the monthly pivot and a retest of the monthly pivot. That doesn't look too shaggy to me or shabby to me. Actually, don't mind that at all. I can see the potential for downside here. Can I see a good trade in it? Probably not, because if I were to enter here, which would be my MO, and put my stop loss even up here, that's 100 pip risk for not even a 50 pip gain before I hit that level that I'm actually thinking of, which would then give me an inverted head and shoulders with a neckline that's pretty ugly, I must admit, but that's pretty much where I'm at. Would like to trade down to here, but on the weekly chart right now, I see a very poor reward to risk trade. If we were to get a rally back to, once again, a level of resistance, which looks pretty obvious to me, would be there. Resistance here, support here, support here. if we were to get that rally to there and we got a lower high here, happy days. That would give me the reward, providing it's not a massive candle, of course. That would give me the reward to trade it back down to this level. So, there's a plan there that I can actually act on. So going from the monthly chart where I'm bearish, right, to here, come to the weekly chart, I'm actually bullish to here. In my mind, it doesn't mean I'm absolutely committed to it. But that's where I'm at. So I'm thinking long to here is my first move, if I can get something that allows me to do that. And then we'll reassess when we get to that level. So that's the daily chart. We're looking at prizing the top of this range that we've got on the smaller time frames. Is there much resistance here is the question. You can see here, look, there is a little bit. It's been support, it's been resistance. So we need to crack that level if we are to actually get into this area here. That's going to be the task, and the big question today is, can we do that on Aussie Kiwi? So let's now go to the 4-hour chart and see how we would execute a trade if it were to present. Remembering we've got to crack this level and come back and retest it if we are to trade on that bigger time frame. So what I'm saying is I don't want to go long here right now because I'm trading into that resistance level, and that doesn't suit me at all. That's kind of gambling that you are going to go through on this occasion. We failed here. We failed here. Why do we think now is the time that this is going to crack? Unless there's a fundamental reason that backs that up. So, yeah, I'm not ready yet to trade this. I can certainly see that we've got a little trade line coming through here. And the way I would approach this is break, take out this high, come back and retest, then look to trade it long. So that's the 4-hour chart sorted for Aussie Kiwi. Then I go to the 30-minute chart to see if that's going to be possible earlier than on the 4-hour chart. Answer is, of course, it's possible, but is it likely? And that's really the only area I can see as being likely for me to want to trade this long on a 30-minute chart. So again, price would have to come down to a support level. This would be pretty cool, actually, if it panned out. Price down to here, hits the monthly pivot after it breaks the trade line, consolidates, get back above, retest the confluence of daily pivot and trend line. Away we go. So that's how I analyze the chart, guys. That's how I get to the point where, okay, looks like I might be able to trade this. So the first thing I can possibly do is on the 30-minute charts, look for this area down here. Can I trade it to there? Shit, yeah. Of course I can. I'm not even going to say this is a counter trend trade if it were to pop up. So, obvious for me, back here, find resistance here, get back underneath, retest from below, and put in that lower high maybe. That would be confirmation for me, and I could look to trade it down to here. But I wouldn't want to go anywhere past this level. I think this is target area for me on Aussie Kiwi. So there you go. There's a map that I've got of Aussie Kiwi straight away. The potential that I have to trade this cross today. Nothing else really would suit. I can trade it down to here, and then I can trade it long. If it gets messed up in here and doesn't give me a signal in any way, shape, or form, then I don't trade. If it breaks out here, then I go to the higher time frames, looking for the 4-hour chart for the break, take this high out, come back and retest, then look for the long. Okay. Whew. I don't normally take that long. I guess I'm not talking all the time while I'm doing that. Now, guys, I think you guys saw this trade yesterday. Yes, you would have, because I called for it in the morning show, and it was trading this bar short underneath here, stop loss up here, taking profit down here at the daily pivot of the previous day. And guess what? Nothing's happened since. So yeah, manage it at your discretion. But you know, what I really see here and what I saw from the outset was the potential for this to go up to here, and that's where I wanted to take the short rather than anywhere down here. But when that's set up, it was okay. You've got to take it. Simple as that. Gap's now closed, as you can see, the gap from Monday, and we are really into a consolidation period with the last 2, 4, 6, and now 7th 4-hour candle giving us grief in that it doesn't want to move. That kind of works for me though, because as I drill down into the smaller time frames, we can have a look at trading top to bottom. But let's do the same thing and see how we analyze this chart. You can clearly see that the 70 level here is significant as strong support, been strong support again. We haven't had a monthly close below this level since, well, there, I suppose, which is 2008, folks. So that's how significant this level is. We've got to go back for 8.5 years. That was December in 2008 to find a close below this strong level of 70 cents. Now, that's not going to stop price going through it, of course, as we get now underneath 69 cents. But there is now, 9 days to go, which means there's 1, 2, there's still 7 days trading left in the month. So anything can happen here, right? What would I expect to happen looking at this chart? Well, to be absolutely fair, I think there's probably another test of this trend line on. And if that were to be the case, it would be very difficult for this to get back up above that level before the end of the month. Unless, of course, it happens in very quick fashion, which is possible. So I'm a little bit on the, this is a bit tough. Yes, I can see that we've broken through here. I'd like to see the smaller time frames to see what sort of closes we've got below. And if we do, that probably becomes significant. And I'd be looking for a retest of that area and then trade it back down to this level. It's not a thing I like to do because we are pretty close to that support area, and we're at this support area. So it's a bit of a two up for me. Let's go a little bit deeper, and you can see that the weekly candle of last week did indeed not only close below there, its entire body is below that level. So we've gapped down below 70 cents. We've continued that for another 130 pips odd with last week's candle, and it gapped up again. But still price action is down. From this chart, I'm not seeing anything that inspires me to do anything at all. So moving on to the daily chart. See, sometimes it's clear and sometimes it's just not. And this is one of those not times. The Aussie Kiwi, very clear what needs to happen, or what I'd see as a potential or probable happening, if you like. But here, no, I can't see anything that suggests to me we're about to rally. I can't see anything that is tradable in any way, shape, or form on the daily chart. I've got an indecisive bar after a gap. The gap's closed, but the bar's indecisive. And it's pretty much a mess on the daily chart as well. What is clear is that we're in extremely bearish momentum, that there's absolutely no argument there. And we're still below the weekly pivot, and we're still below the bottom of this channel. So to be bullish here is either A, brave, or B, foolish, I think would be the two words I'd bandy around. I'm, believe it or not, still of the opinion, and I've really got no reason to say this apart from technically, that this has still got potential to go to here. But I can't concentrate on that. I just can't. until we get above here, you know, that's a long way. That's a stairway to heaven, man. That's a long bow to draw, as they say. And if there is a way to trade that, it will probably come from down here and not from up here, because as soon as this starts to go, it'll probably go. Can it happen, guys, is the big question. Of course it can. Will it? Look, it's improbable. But I've been surprised by the market many times, and really nothing surprises me anymore. So whilst ever it's possible to go there, or whatever it's on the chart, and whatever it's a target area, then I've got to be recognizing that it's potentially going to go there at some stage. Hard to see, I know, it's hard to imagine, but there it is. All things are possible at all times. And if you're willing to take that attitude on board, then I think it's probably not bad counsel for you to do that. Okay, this line no longer belongs here. In fact, we'll get rid of that and put it maybe there and there. Okay, so what have we got? Have we got a bullish agenda? Look, it's really hard to say that, isn't it? You could say we've got a yawning double bottom sitting here, and you can say that we've got a higher low here and potential higher low from here on this area. The way I see that is pretty messy, but let's try and tidy it up a little bit and see if we can put some structure in there. So we've got a couple of highs here. We'll join those up. We've got a couple of lows down here. We'll join those up. Probably even drag that back here a bit into that area. And now we can see what is ahead of us, really. And what is ahead of us is bouncing. What's the natural reaction when price hits the bottom and gives you a reversal bar? Go to the top. Not rocket science. I might just encompass all of that, actually. There you go. That's a bit neater. So what do we do? Well, nothing. We have to wait until one of two things happens. The first thing could be a higher low here, and we could then look to trade that to the top, maybe even to the daily pivot. That would be super counter trend, super counter momentum, and super adventurous. So it's really not it's not a high probability trade given the circumstances. But on the basis of the 30-minute chart showing us a double bottom and a higher low at the bottom of a range, it's probably worth the risk if we can get an entry down here and there's enough profit in it. So say we got a risk of, well, see, it's very small risk. We'd want something bigger in terms of the range to be trading this, because you're going to finish up trading a 6 or 5 or 6 pip candle, and it's not advisable, especially in a market that is doing weird and wonderful things, as we saw yesterday with the euro and the pound when Theresa May made that announcement. It just went batshit for a while, and all day yesterday we saw the Aussie fall until we've gone into this consolidation. There's absolutely no reason to be bullish here, as I said before. And why am I giving it even a thought? Well, because the chart's telling me it's possible with a double bottom and higher lows. Until those lows are taken out, we've still got that in play. So it's still possible, very, very difficult on a small time frame because you've only got a very small range. That range, in fact, is 15 pips. So you're going to have to take on, a 5 pip candle to get any reward out of it. And it's probably just not a thing I would seek to do. If I got maybe a 12, 15 pip candle in this vicinity, what I might think of doing is still taking that trade, but instead of looking for the top of the range and maybe the daily pivot, is take profit at the top of the range and leave it open and give it the opportunity to go to here for whatever reason. You know, I can't ever say why the market would go where it would go. That's not my game. I'm not a seer, you know. I haven't got a crystal ball, so I can't say with any form of authority that this is going to here, because only from a technical point of view. So I've got no idea what would drive it here. None. Absolutely none. Maybe an announcement that, I don't know, Australian car manufacturing came back, or whatever. We found more iron ore than we had. Or, I don't know. There's all sorts of reasons why it could happen, but probability is not on its side. I've got to say that. So in summary, on the Aussie, look, I'd be willing to take a risk, but it would be a big risk, and it would want to be a decent candle for me to take that. So, you know, the preference is just to leave it alone at the end of the day. That won't necessarily be what I'll do. Okay. Oh, yeah, we talked about the Aussie trade short, didn't we? Now, this one here is interesting. We took this yesterday in the where were we? Can't remember if I took that in this. I didn't take it in this session. It was a little bit later, but I think I told you guys what I was looking for. So I was looking for price to. I think price was down here when we started, and I said what I'd like to see here is price get back above this trend line, giving us the potential for a false break, and then putting in a bear bar. Well, we certainly got that, and that was exactly what I was looking for. So I put my entry in here, got slipped into the market, of course, by the spreads, and then suffered the ignominy, I can never say that word, of price falling straight away as soon as we got taken in. Hate that. That just sucks, doesn't it? Big time. So we were not in a positive position for a very, very long time. We had taken in there 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours before we got into positive territory. We stayed there for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. As I recall, I was in front of the charts, and I'm not normally in front of the charts at that hour, but I had some work to do, so I was still in front of the charts, and I don't like to leave 30-minute trades in the market whilst I'm going to bed, which I was preparing to do. And I thought, I'm not going to sit here for another hour or so after this candle formed and stay in this market. So as soon as we got back to break even, I closed the trade and accepted the fact that it just wasn't ready to go. Little did I know, of course, that Theresa May was warming up her tonsils. And there, of course, I was feeling okay when I went to bed because it started to fall away. And I thought, okay, I made the right call here. And then, of course, she opened her mouth and whew, up she went, big time. There was profit to take in that area through DR1. That would have been a nice little trade at the end of the day. But for me, it was a break-even trade. You would be now out of that if you didn't take profit up here at exactly the same result as I got, break-even, because you would have taken profit at the 6-odd pip mark, and you would have moved your stops up to that same level, and now you would be out of that trade. Or would you actually be close? Entry there, profit there, 5.5. Oh yeah, you'd be out of that now. So, what did we do here that could have been different? Nothing, absolutely nothing. We did exactly what we planned to do, and it's only that the market was in, I don't know, no mood to go long at that time, that we didn't make any more money. Or I didn't make any money. Those who got through to there probably did, and happy days. So what happens next? Well, when I look at this chart and I think, well, let's go to the bigger picture, because that's where we started this conversation, isn't it? The bigger picture is clear, that we've come back to this long-term level that refused to break. But in fact, we're a bit below that level. I think that level for me is around about there-ish. And we are back through that, and we've closed twice below that level. So the euro looks to be in all sorts, doesn't it, really, at the end of the day? What's going to stop it falling? And I can't make a good technical argument for this to rally at all when you look at that chart. The only thing I would say is if it were able to get back above that level, then there might be something to talk about. But really, at the moment, we've got a situation where we've had a close below a major level of support, and it's kind of almost bye-bye euro time. So why, once again, am I of the opinion that it can rally? Well, for the reasons that I always find on a chart. I found another support level, which I think is valid. It's been support through here. Couldn't break. Same. You could argue that that's support as well. You could certainly argue that that's support after a massive fall in or from, I can't remember what that circumstance was. That's before Brexit was announced. Yeah. Anyway, you can see that is and has been a massive level of support. So we're not clear really of any support level. Yes, the major support, I believe, is gone, but we do have another level here. And you can see what's happening. Break through that level. Now we're bouncing up and down inside this little range, which is 112.30 to 111.30. It says we're inside 100 pip range right now. Well, guess what? When I'm inside a range, what do I look to do? I look to trade it from bottom to top. And I look to trade from bottom to top here, top to bottom to top. That's why I can envisage a rally here. I'm not saying a massive reversal, but I am saying a rally. And that rally has got a lot of work to do, I must admit. It's got to get through this trend line. It's got to get through the weekly pivot. It's got to get through the monthly pivot just to get back to the top of the range. So it's not an easy feat, and I'd need to see something that can convince me that this is about to happen. On this chart, I really haven't got that. There's the hint here of a tweezer bottom, higher low. Again, another higher low that we were looking at on Aussie Kiwi, I believe. Not convincing though, is it? It's nothing's crystal clear here. It's very much a case of, okay, we had a crystal clear scenario on Aussie Kiwi, but that's it. Nothing since has been crystal clear. So it's a lot confusing to me. What is very tempting, well, it's more than tempting. It's almost compelling that we've had a break of this trend line. We've had a retest of this trend line. Unfortunately, too much water's gone under the bridge since that happened for me just to put an entry here, and we're trading straight into support again. So that's not, and I think I said that at the time, it's not an option to do that. If I'm going to trade short, I want to trade short from resistance, which would be up here somewhere. So whilst I've got, again, the hint of a bullish engulfing bar, but it hasn't. Certainly the body hasn't. The wicks, I guess you can make some sort of argument for it, but it's not, again, not clear. If this were to become a higher low based on that, it would give us the look of an inverted head and shoulders here. I can see that. So it's not impossible. We've got a resistance trade line above us, nice confluence area. If we can actually get through that and retest it, then that's a bullish signal. But to trade it up to there on a 4-hour chart is really tough. There's no room. So let's go down to the 30-minute time frame. And there I see just hang on 2 seconds, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Right, on this time frame here, I see this is the 30-minute chart. obviously this trade line or trend line doesn't exist on this chart, so let's put it where it belongs. So again, we've got a little bit of a channel going on. I can certainly see that. Let's put it there. Yeah, let's go with that. So again, we've got the option to trade from top to bottom, bottom to top, to bottom to top. We're on our way to the bottom again, aren't we? Well, that's certainly how it looks from this angle. But again, I can see left shoulder, head, right shoulder forming, perhaps. So again, this is not crystal clear in any way, shape or form. So I've got to rely on the candles telling me what's going to happen next. And I use, that's really not valid because I don't have a clear low here. Can't use that. No man's land is what I call that. We're absolutely in the middle of no man's land. We're in the middle of the channel going south, and we're at a support level. My gut feel, my gut feel is we're going here, but gee whiz, this is again drawing a long bow to get any semblance of where this is headed from this chart is really, you know, I'll take my hat off to somebody who can actually analyze this and say, we are definitely going here next, or we are definitely going here next. You know, I'm not too bad on euro dollar, but I really can't see an answer here right now. Nothing that suits me. I can see this support level, and I can see that we're kind of trying to get there, but I can see that we've also failed. Twice, in fact. So it's not clear. Nothing there is clear to me. So why don't I just leave it alone? That's where I'm at. I won't go through all of these pairs, guys, because I'm sure it's becoming very, very boring by now. Hi, Mohammed. How you doing? Sorry, I've only just got the feed onto my screen here. Can the trend line be used or act as support and resistance? I'm not sure when you asked that question or what trend line, but the answer in general terms is absolutely. Absolutely. Use it for support and resistance all the time. Great targets, great launch pads, great indicators as to where price is going next, in my humble opinion. Why do I say that? Well, let's draw a trend line. And I'll show you why I say that. Here's the trend line. Kind of in there somewhere, yeah. So if we're trading short from this level, where do you think we would take profit? Confluence area, weekly pivot, trade line, or trend line rather. It's both really. But you can see every time we come to here, we bounce off it. Every time we come to here, we bounce off it. Bing, it's like Skippy the bush kangaroo. So that's a classic trend line. That's really doing its job. And this becomes significant in two ways. When we get there, because it's happened 1, 2, 3, 4, this will be the fifth time, and there'll be people who will say to you, the more that it's tested, the more likely it is to break. I'm not going to argue with that, but I'm going to give you the equal and opposite possibility. Every time it comes here, it bounces. Why wouldn't it do it again? Same argument, really, at the end of the day. You know, you throw your probability factor in the bin there. There is no probability here once we've reached this line, in my humble opinion, unless something's happened up here. You know, unless we've got a big double top and something else is going on, or there's a fundamental reason. But really, every single time we come to this line, we're bouncing off it, and that's how I see a trend line. I don't see a trend line as being anything but support and resistance. an indicator, of course, as to where the trend's going. But, you know, we're not blind in this occasion. We can certainly see that the trend is long. But we can use this if we're trading short here to take profit. Absolutely. And better still, you know, if there's a confluence area, which has been form of resistance or form of support going the other way, then it just doubles its efficacy, in my humble opinion. So until that line breaks, you need to, if you're short, use it as support. You don't have to take everything off the table, but certainly take profit there and get yourself safe, because, you know, really, it's highly probable that the market is going to bounce off it again. So, you know, to me, that's not something to be scoffed at. Use it as support resistance, absolutely. A lot of people don't even like trend lines. I can do without them because I've got other things that are telling me what are good levels to get in and out of. But gee whiz, they really add to the flavour of what you're trying to achieve here, in my humble opinion. The more layers you can put on support and resistance, then definitely the better off you're going to be. So let's look at this Euro Aussie whilst we are here. This is the 4-hour chart. Let's go to the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is very clear. Finally, we've got something that's clear here. And I don't even have to put it in. It's there. The price is bang on this resistance level, which is a horizontal level. Can we add anything to that in terms of confluence? Look, nothing that's really compelling. There's one thing that I can see there that is interesting, but not compelling. When I see that happen, I think there's going to be, well, I don't think, I know there will be a retest, because, again, trend lines and horizontal levels are always retested. And you'll have people say to you that trend lines and horizontal levels are often retested. Well, my contention would be that they're always retested. We just don't know when, sadly. And if you can find that formula out for me, please let me know. But here, it's pretty clear to me that, yes, the downtrend is now an uptrend. And if we put the uptrend line in, there's a pretty compelling story for me that we need to come back. We need to come back to this area. We've gone through the confluence already, but the trend line, what do we just have a look at the trend line? It becomes support, yeah? But it's also a magnet to price. So when we're at resistance and we see support directly below us with its finger going, come here, come here, come here, I'd find that impossible to trade long right now for that reason. Strong resistance level, big support underneath. Retest of the broken trend line hasn't occurred. Well, it probably has on a smaller time frame. That's not true, but yeah, something a little bit more substantial than that, I would have thought. So yeah, I can only be bearish in this situation. Of course, I can't just trade it. I could, if I'm a scalper, I can just go, all right, this is going short now. Let's put a short in here, and we'll put our stop above these two highs. That looks to be a pretty safe place. After all, price hasn't been there since, again, global financial crisis. First time we got there in ages, and we haven't been back above there since 2008. Again, bit of a theme going on there, perhaps. So, yeah, do I expect this to go above these highs? No, not before it comes back here. And something, well, fundamental, I keep saying that word, but when you're in a situation like this and you're at not all-time highs, but very, very significant highs, something has to happen to drive this through. Now, whether that happened down here is another story. If you want to go back to 2012 and map that progress of Euro Aussie, then go right ahead. I do believe in looking at the big picture for that reason. And if I were to see a massive inverted head and shoulders here, for instance, that really hasn't played out, then I'd be okay with trading long, but not from here. I want to trade long from here, not from here. And this is what trend lines and trade lines do for me. If they show me that they break and that break is false, then the clear picture becomes to me, okay, if we don't want to go down here, where do we want to go? Cheers, Mohammed. And, you know, that's not, again, it's not rocket science. If it doesn't want to go short, chances are it's going to go long, and it's certainly going to go to the next resistance level. So we do tend to, I suppose, and I've been doing this of late. That's why I'm doing it now, because I haven't done it for ages. I briefly do it, but I don't think about it too much. It should be done, you know, very, very regularly, where you have a look at the big picture and say, well, okay, where are we here? Why do we want to go long here? And my answer to that is I don't. I do not want to go long here. I want to look for an opportunity to trade it back to here, then perhaps look to go long. So there we go. Euro Aussie on the monthly, looking for a short. Now, if you go back to what's happening in the fundamental world, you would consider that to be not a probable outcome. Because, well, up until last night, I don't know really what Theresa May's thing does for the euro, to be fair. But, you know, whilst ever we're talking Brexit, there's got to be a cloud over the euro in some shape or form. And whilst I can see that there's a potential for it to rally, I don't think that's a sure thing. As we saw in the chart, remember I said this is a mess. And how anybody can tell me what direction that's going from here right now is beyond me. But if you can, please send me a signal, because I love to trade the euro, but I just can't see it right now. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. Euro Aussie short is the next direction for me, and it'll take something to convince me to trade that. Obviously, what can I see? Well, I can't really see anything right now, except maybe we've broken this 160, 180 level, that level I put on the chart, and we've come back below it. We've retested it. Is this a false break of that level? Perhaps it is. I can't know that right now. There's a couple of interesting things here. That's a bit interesting. Hasn't been retested yet. That would get me short if we were to come back underneath here and then retest that from below. That would be an excellent place to short this market. Nothing else at the moment, really. I suppose we could trade off. Don't like to use these big spikes as destinations or points of what's the opposite of destination? Starting point, yes, but there's one word for it. Can't think of it. Anyway, what would I be looking to do here? Same thing as I was looking at here. So allow this to break, find the absolute top of this chart, which is what, 130 odd pips away. So it's not impossible to think that there's a trade on there. That's for sure. That would be the best case scenario for me. If we broke up to here, found the resistance, got back underneath this trend line now and the confluence area in about this vicinity, retested, yeah, you couldn't hold me back. That'd be definite short if that were to be the case. And that is the best case scenario, because we're absolutely at the top then. So unfortunately, this is a daily chart we're looking at, and we have to remember this or commit it to our journal or set a reminder or something like that, because really at the end of the day, for that trade to be, let's say it happens fast and we get up to here, highly doubtful, but if it were to get up here fast, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 trading days before we can even consider it. My other thought is we're looking at more than that. We're looking at around about the 2nd of the 6th to get the absolute ideal scenario, which is, as I said, break, come back underneath, and retest the confluence area. That's the number one trade position for me on Euro Aussie. Pardon me. So how do we deal with this? Have we got a left shoulder? Have we got a head? Have we got a right shoulder? Maybe we do. And if that's the case, where's the neckline? It's ugly because of this big gap that we saw during the week, yeah, or on Monday. It doesn't make it easy. It really doesn't. So your neckline, if you want to call that an inverted, a head and shoulders, maybe we need to have a 2.5 hour time frame or something. It's not convincing. You can see the left shoulder, you can see the head, or can you? That's a weird head. It's had a bit of a boof. Someone's given a big bang. So I'm not really on board with that. And if I were, then the neckline is, probably through here somewhere. Whoops, it's not the right line. Yeah, the neckline is probably through here somewhere. Yuck. Do we forget that? Do we just erase that from the chart and move on? Mohammed, what if price breaks the trend line showing strong bearish price action? Is it a good time? Which trend line, Mohammed? And sorry, I should have had a look there earlier. Are we back on the weekly or monthly chart? Euro Aussie. What chart was I on? Daily chart, maybe. So you're asking me if price breaks the trend line showing strong bearish price action, is it a good time? So this trend line, if we were to break this trend line with strong bearish price action, then I would not jump in and trade it. I would wait until there's a retest of the trade line. And the reason for that is because, as always, when a level's broken, the propensity for it and probability for it to be retested is very high. Why? Okay. If, let's say, the bears jump into the market here right now, they've seen a couple of high test bars, they've deemed one of these to be a reversal bar, so they jump into the market short and they drive price down here with a very strong decisive bearish bar. What happens is they come to a support level. What happens when a seller comes to a support level? What is the smart thing to do at a support level? Intraday wise, it's very much, well, in fact, bigger time frames as well, but certainly intraday, where we're not sure exactly where this price is going to linger or visit before it goes in the direction that we've chosen. They take profit. And when they take profit, if they're selling here, they're buying here, right? So when they buy, the market goes in the opposite direction. So they're getting out of their position here, or some of their position here, and the price goes back to here. And it's there that people like me are watching and say, okay, if we don't drive back through here, then guess what? This was profit taking, and really the momentum is short. Let's jump in there. So it's not the first wave, if you like, that we're after here. It's the second wave. And that goes for all of my trading. If I can jump on the second wave, in particular on the medium time frames, then that's where the money is. It's a far higher risk to trade the first move than it is to trade the second. So I hope that does answer your question, Mohammed. If they did drive through here with a big decisive bar, I'd wait for the retest. And that confirms to me that the false break is on. Okay. All right. I'll go one more. I'll go the pound and have a good look at the pound. The pound is super interesting because how long ago? It's not that long ago, to be fair, that every commentator on the planet, bar none, or every analyst on the planet, bar none, was saying the pound's cheap, pound's cheap, got to buy the pound, got to buy the pound. Well, guess what? It's cheaper. It's cheaper now. And we've got all the commentators in the world, or all the analysts in the world, telling us that it's going to hell in the handbasket. I don't quite get that. To me, if it's cheap here and we want to buy, it just got cheaper. Why don't we want to buy? We've had a bit of a rally. Yeah, Brexit's really giving it a hard time. There's no question. And that's why it's very, very difficult to trade it, because it's all over the shop. But, if we think about this long and hard, we have to be of the opinion that, sorry, I keep talking for you guys. You don't have to be of any opinion. I have to be of the opinion that, yes, this is cheap. Yes, we're well below a level where this is due to rally. I can't show you any clearer on this chart, how low we've been. And we put in a double bottom. And we've rallied up to, or we've formed resistance up here. And now we've come back to this level here, where we've put in another double bottom, or a tweezer bottom, call it what you want. And now, yes, we're under the influence of Brexit, in my humble opinion, on a shorter term, or short to medium term maybe. But we're still at this support level where I can see a double bottom. So I cannot be bearish here. Yeah, look, we all do it, man. We all jump in where we shouldn't. And, learning that process of staying out is really a skill, and one worth having, very much worth having, because you can make a whole lot more money by not trading than really, when I say a whole lot more, you can make a whole lot of money by not trading, simply by the fact that you're not losing. And, jumping into trades that really aren't there, when it's exciting, because, and the further the logjam goes on, the more tempting it is to get into the market on bad positions, because geez, where's my next trade coming from? Or, where's my next dollar coming from? So the constant battle between self and the charts is always there. So learning that skill is very, very important. Absolutely. And I'm no expert, I can assure you. I'm not bad, but I'm not the best in the world, that's for sure. Because I get to that point where I think, it's not the best I've ever seen, but it's not bad either. Well, it could be better. And you think, no, it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk. And, really, you need to just hang around and wait for the right one. Not an easy skill, that's a fact. So let's talk about the pound again. Pound back to here, totally can see that. The trend line, if you like, which is about here. So still a ways off in terms of the monthly chart. You're still 100 and odd pips to get there. Yes, Break and retest. Perfect. No, you got it, mate. Yep. That's your insurance policy. So I'm not writing this off as far as going short term is concerned, but thereafter I don't want to be short this cross at all. I want to be long this cross. So how do we deal with that? Well, I can't find a way in here at all, but I obviously can't try and catch the falling knife either. But you see that, the weekly chart is very clear that there's a double bottom sitting there at a strong support level. And all we need to see here is a higher low, and look what we're going to have. We're going to have a big left shoulder, big head, big right shoulder. Even if that is to come down here, that's still going to be in play because we won't take these lows out. Trading that right now is gambling, and unless you're in a short, it's really, really difficult to be trading here right now. But can you see what the potential for this to do is? And it's super clear to me. Super clear. So I won't say I'm a short-term pound bull, that's for sure. But I will say that I'm a long-term pound bull. And I think there's probably a few in that boat as well. But for now, it's very much, in fact, I'd really like to be on holidays now, just to get all the shit out of the road and get back to some form of normalcy, shall I say, if there's such a thing in the trading world. So guys, I've probably chewed your ear off way too much here today because I'm not looking to trade. But if you've got something out of it, happy days. Then that's cool. You can see what's happening here already today. Euro pound's taken off. We are at the top of the range here, so I will be looking to trade that. In fact, it's looking okay. If we were to come back below here and retest from below, there you go again, Mohammed. The break, the retest, that would be a trade short for me. Aussie, again, bottom of the range. We need to see that lower high, but that doesn't look to be the case at the moment. Best case scenario now for the Aussie is to get to the daily pivot, come back into the range, retest it from below. So back, retest, enter. Same. You're not seeing anything different here, are you, Mohammed? It's very much the same for me all the time. Nothing really changes. Less loss, exactly. Less loss is key. So, guys, I'm going to leave it there. We are past the hour, and it's nearly dinner time for me, so I'm going to bid you adieu. And as I say, I hope you've got something out of the session, even if not any money or a trade. They will come, but at this stage, unless you're in trends and trading within those trends, it's a little bit tough, I've got to say. Be patient, and they will come. Righto, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I hope your trades, if they come, are good ones, and we'll look forward to catching you again tomorrow. It's only Wednesday. Yep, we'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully there'll be some trades to look at, and we can dig down a little bit deeper into what we spoke about today and see if any of those positions have actually developed in any way, shape, or form. Righto, guys, have a good one. See you later. Bye for now.